I would like to invite him now to the stage. Please welcome Kristiyan Srebrev.
Thanks. Hello, everyone. I'm not sure if my presentation is starting, but I'll start instead. Yeah. So I'm here to present my company, Soft, and we'll talk about stuff that interaction designers are making during their time at work. So basically, my presentation is divided in two parts. The first one is more theoretical, and it's kind of boring. And the next part is more practical, with examples and best practices I'd like to share with you. But I won't be able to show you everything. So in order to see the stuff I want to show you, you can check out the presentations, the presentation when they are ported at the site. So maybe I should say, yeah, can you start the website or something? Yeah. No, I mean the other presentation. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so troll back a few years before, I was working in another company, and in that company there was a project I started. It was about to make a website for a woman or maybe an organization about some facial cosmetics or stuff. So when I started working on this website, we iterated on the design. The customers liked it a lot. And after that, I started to write the front end. I can't exactly show you how it looks, but I will try to describe it a little bit. So it was really complex website. I mean, there were a lot of graphics, there were overlapping in the background, and it was responsive. So everything should, I mean, I made it look really well on every different device right in displays, iPhone 4S and so on. So I put a lot of effort into this website. I mean, it was really hard to implement because, as I said, a lot of backgrounds and stuff, they were overlapping. And then I presented it to the customers. They were like, is this really a website? I mean, we're looking at it, but it doesn't look like a website. It looks like you uploaded the images, the PSDs you showed us. And yeah, you're actually saying that you spent like a month of development and showing me this, and well, it wasn't that bad actually, but yeah, the whole thing is that I was missing a big part of the design process, and it's about interaction and adding animations into the website. I mean, I didn't add any hovers or when you click on somewhere to change the background somehow with some motion and stuff. So the customers thought that I just uploaded the images on a domain. And yeah, just trying. Yeah, everything works. So it's really important when you are making a professional project to add those stuff, and those stuff are kind of related to user experience. So if we're going to talk about animations, and I don't know how this showed up. I think it's the antivirus program. Okay. So if we're going to talk about animations, and the best place to start with is from Disney, because they've been making, as you know, Disney's really famous company. They're making animations and motion pictures. Yeah, thank you. So, and they started working on different cool stuff back in 1944, I think. It was when the company was started. And for about 60 or 70 years, they've been working really hard into creating some cool animations. They were the first ones who created a full-length animated movie, and they're putting a lot of effort into expressing the emotion they want to show to the audience that's looking into the movie. So yeah, it's really great to start talking with Disney. So I'm going to talk about some principles that are related to the 12 principles of animation that Disney invented. Anyone heard of those principles? You can raise your hand. Yeah, 2 hands. Cool. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about all those 12 principles. I'm going to talk only about 5 of them. And you can actually check out every single one of them. They are interesting in order to achieve some cool animations. So I'm going to start with the first one. It's called feedback. And basically, it's some trivial thing. You know, when you're a user, you open a website. It has a button. You click on the button, something happens. That's pretty normal feedback. Most of the users are pretty okay and delighted to see when there is something is loading, if it's actually loading, if you're making any progress, if the action you made is correct or incorrect, and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure you're really aware of what this means. So this principle with Disney is called text aggregation. I'm going to show you an example. Yeah, so this is some sketches from one movie. It's called Tangled. Does anyone seen it? Tangled? Yeah, I'm joking. It doesn't matter if you've seen it. So the whole point of this, what I'm trying to show is the princess is saying something to this character, and he's like, "What? I mean, what she's talking about?" Then he's super angry and wants to kill her. Then he's super in love with her. The audience doesn't see every single expression he shows. I mean, they change rapidly, really fast into the animation. But the feeling that they get from those changed behaviors or expressions of the face, the audience gets those feelings, and after that, they understand, yeah, well, he's in love with the prince. Yeah, everyone can say that. Okay. So, some real examples. I'm going to talk from left to right. The first one is, it's from iOS. When you type in an incorrect password, and there's like a head shake in order that this is not correct. Yeah. The second application is called Dots, and it's really cool to see animation, multi-layered animation, and that connects the dots, and you can see that it's some kind of game. Okay, the next one is Yahoo News, and there is a progress with all the circles. They are filled up, and after that you get some extra information on the full screen. And the last application shows when you select some genres, you see that there is an actual progress with creating your profile. Okay, first principle. I'm going to let you ask your questions after everything. So, yeah. Second one is called feed forward. It's some kind of a hinting to tell the users what they need to do in order to achieve their goals, to understand what to do with your application or website, or just show them, yeah, this is the correct way, you know it, or you want to show them the menu somehow, that they can actually easily click on it or something like that. Yeah. In Disney, this is called anticipation. Yeah. For example, let's say you want to draw someone that catches a ball. Okay. So let's say that you do the most normal thing. You draw 2 frames. The first frame, there will be one character standing and ball somewhere near around him. On the second frame, you draw the same character, but he has the ball in his hand. Okay, this is perfect, right? Yeah, but it isn't actually, because the audience will not be really delighted with the result, because he's just standing, and after that, the ball magically appears in his hand. So you need to add this kind of anticipation and add a middle frame that shows when the character is actually looking at the ball and the ball is moving like closer to him. So, some examples. On the first application, when you swipe down, you're creating a new item. The next application shows the menu when you start it. It's like peeking a little bit on the left, and you can see when you can swipe on the right. You can use the menu on the left. The next application, YAML, when you click on the search icon, you can see that the search input is actually in the header. And the last application is called Snapchat, and it's kind of native to most of the mobile applications, but when you swipe down, it's refreshing the screen, and it's good that it has some continuous animation with the ghost and the different colors. Okay, third principle, spatial awareness. This is kind of important because if you're making an application, it most probably will have some backgrounds. I mean, like graphical backgrounds. And as a human, you are most probably having different ideas about what to visualize, and you can create infinite number of backgrounds and environments for your application, and all of those environments will look really great. I mean, I'm not saying you're not really creative person, but yeah. So in most cases, not everything works fine, because when you think of it, if you're creating something and then it goes on mobile, you won't have enough space to work around. So it's really good to make whatever you're making to be logical, in order that the users, when tries to navigate through it, he won't be lost in your application, for example, or in your website. So there must be any logic when you come from one screen to another, so the user can say, yeah, I can go back just clicking back on this button, for example. So in Disney, it's called staging. This pretty interesting example. It's from a movie called Kung Fu Panda. Anyone seen it? I'm just joking back again. Yeah. So you would say, yeah, the panda is really childish. I mean, he's playing with toys and stuff, but the whole childish thing with this animation is kind of visualized with the background around him. I mean, he's sitting in a bathtub, yeah, and there are a lot of bubbles around him that are dynamical and stuff. So most probably the whole environment creates this childish attitude of the frames. Okay. Next thing, I want to show you some great examples of changing different backgrounds and screens. So in the first application, you can see that it's calendar, and the developers added really cool animations about switching through different days of the week. The second application, it's about storytelling, and they made the animations to look like you're actually using a book. I mean, unfolding the papers, stuff. The third one, with swiping from down to up, you can open a panel with options. And the last one, and it's really cool when you're selecting one of the items, that's expanding on full screen, and after that, going to the top, and you can see the sublevels on the left. Okay, next principle, it's called user focus. And you know that when you're working with some interesting clients, they want to sell their product so bad, and they say something like, you made really great website. I mean, it's really cool. It's green and stuff. But I mean, we're not selling with this. We need one big button that says buy in the middle of the screen, on every screen. So the users, when they go onto our website, they will buy every single day. Well, they're actually some parts somehow right. Because it's really important to set the focus of the application in order to help the users understand what's most important, what can they achieve with your product, and they will be really delighted because they will easily understand what to do in order to finalize their goals. Well, this is not actually a Disney principle. It's the 13th principle, but it's really important if you start talking with some animation experts. So in this example, Mickey is really mad because he can't put on hold this basket because there is a wind and the wind is blowing off his basket, and in one particular moment he grabs this enormous hammer which is somehow in his body, but yeah, he grabs it and he nails the basket. Well, the audience doesn't actually question where the hell did this hammer come up and from. But the action is important here because he's trying to, yeah, you got my idea. Okay, so another example, I mean 4 of them. The first one is Pinterest. When you actually interact with the application, you see the many options, the 3 options you have, what you can do with it. I mean, to like, pin, send. The second application, it has some interesting animation about showing notifications. When I tap on the button, it kind of enlarges the whole area so you can focus on the notifications. The third application also is interesting. When you're changing the time, with those yellow colors, you're actually focused on what you're changing. So when you're switching between the screens, you're focused on what you're editing. And the last application is just a simple weather application. There is some animations at the bottom. They're at the bottom because the stakeholders decided that the most important information will be shown there. So they wanted to add some interaction or animations at the bottom in order to swipe down. Okay, and the last one is called brand tone of voice. You're pretty familiar with the most famous stuff like Facebook's blue, Google, they're colorful with green, red, and so on. Yeah, this is really important part of getting what you want. So Disney, you know, this was iconic drawing because after the animator created Mickey Mouse with those ears, strange little round ears, yeah. And after that, Disney's icon became this character actually. So, in Snapchat, I'm not sure if you can see it well, but on the bottom there are some ghosts that are playing with a ball. I mean, the users are really delighted with those ghosts, and they're eager to see any new stuff with those ghosts again. Doesn't matter when in the application. The second application is called Flickr, and when you're refreshing someone's profile, animation shows with the pink and the blue circle that are looping one around each other. Third application, it's called Nike Run, and all the animations at it are looking like they're following the track. And the last one, when you tap on Add Cart button, it shows a little badger, or I'm not sure, beaver, dressed like Superman, throwing stuff in the basket. Yeah, users are really happy to see that Easter eggs. Yeah. So, the practical part. I said I won't be able to show you everything I can, but I'll try at least. Yeah. So, if if this was actually interactive, I mean, I could click on the stuff. You would see that those buttons at the above, they're actually you can hover them and you'll see the effect. What I wanted to share with you is that their website, you can see them after the presentation or a couple of days when they upload it. That you can easily achieve something only with CSS and with a lot, I mean, small amount of markup to get really nice results that look native or authentic or interesting to the users in order to catch their attention. I've added some animation of maybe some big titles. As you see, not a lot of markup actually, which is kind of good. Yeah, but actually I can show you the whole code. I mean the styling of this animation. Yeah, there is a link for more interesting animations that are not that well supported using SVG filters. And as you know, in order to make things a little bit faster, you can use those libraries that are CSS libraries that could fasten the development of your website for adding animations. Animate CSS is one of the most famous ones. And it's pretty easy to use. I mean, only importing stuff. And sharing some interesting libraries. I mean, it would be really great if I can show it to you right now, but I can't. So, favicon.js, this is a really cool library. It's JavaScript based, and it actually changes the favicon of your website. If there is any update, it's changing. Like you can add some numbers to it, make it blink or something like that. That's a really cool experience to add into an application or website. The other ones are used mostly for creating some more advanced animations. The first one has a really interesting syntaxis, and it's really easy to use. The second one is mostly about bouncing objects and animations with this bouncy effect. Scroll Magic.js is used when you're making animations that are happening during scrolling your website, like parallax effect, you know what I mean. And the last one, it's kind of a big thing. It has a lot of libraries in it. Greensock, that's its name. And you can actually achieve some really slick and easy to make animations with small amount of code. And you can actually use it to create some really advanced animations with sequences and stuff. Okay, and well, time goes by really fast. Yeah, so thank you for your attention. I really want to show you everything about those stuff, but you can actually see them when they upload the presentation. So thanks for your attention. If you have any questions.